Good evening. My name is Dena Rogers, and I am the Vice Chair for the College Area Community Council. I would like to welcome you this evening. For those of you who are regulars, for the handful of us that are regulars, it's great to see you. For anyone that is new, the College Area Community Council is an organization designed to provide a forum for community issues, a conduit for communications with the city, and an opportunity for problem solving and planning in the college area. This is an open forum meeting and your engagement is welcome. If you have questions, you can raise your hand physically or on Zoom in the reactions button, or you can even wave your hand on Zoom. I think we might catch that as well. You can also engage through the chat. We request that all questions and comments be held to the end of each presentation. And then I'd also like to thank each of those of us who have given their time generously to make this meeting happen. We have Kathy Brimmer, Eric Richardson, Rob Corley has been a participant until tonight, Russell Richardson, and Bob Shilkin. Eric's last name is Rosen, so it's Eric Rosen. I especially want to take a moment and thank CAPS for their generous support and helping us with setup of this process and allowing us to use your facilities and helping us with technical support and advice and being around when we have questions. Very much appreciated. And if you will mute your phones, we'll go ahead and get started. Well, our agenda is going to be, yes, ma'am. If you would like to, go for it. And Kathy is going to deliver the police stats that were provided to us previously in absence of our officer in person.
Yeah, Commander Hourigan couldn't make it this evening, so as Commander Brown mentioned last meeting, crime stats were way down, but they were expecting an increase as warmer weather came our way. And sure enough, last month was 37 total crimes in the stats, and this month is 53. But if you subtract out the thefts at the mall, it's only 20 some odd. So assault offenses, 6, 1 burglary, 4 vandalism, 3 narcotics offenses, 1 extortion, 6 fraud. The big issue at the mall, theft and larceny, 29. 1 motor vehicle theft, 1 stolen property offense, and 1 weapons violation for a total of 53 this month. And barring any other calamities, Commander Hourigan will be with us next month online. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. I appreciate you providing those statistics, and we have a little mini update. Now, I think we do have our representative from Ventura College. I see that Vanessa has signed on. Vanessa, if you want to give me the hi sign, if you're ready for your presentation.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. And let me introduce you briefly. This is Vanessa Stotler. She's the Director of Outreach and Marketing from Ventura College. And she provides us a monthly update, and she's here to share tonight.
Yes, thank you so much. Let me go ahead and get my presentation up to share. Excellent. So it's been some time. Again, thank you also for the food drive. That is so wonderful for the community who've done that. So I wanted to start off with a few updates. Our housing project, it's almost like the never-ending saga. We're still waiting for folks kind of wondering about our housing project update. Everything's at the state for approval. All the plans have been submitted, and so we're just waiting to hear back. I know I think I said that in February, maybe it may have been January. So we're just patiently waiting here at Ventura College. Even though we're waiting, we have had some really fun developments come through. We've been working with the groups helping to design a bit of the housing, how it's going to look, looking at the room, some of the fun pieces of getting to like design spaces for students to have that welcoming feel, even some of the look and aesthetic. So that's been really great. Some of the images I'm sharing here are that were provided are renderings. One of them is where students will be coming into the actual housing, and then the other one is a little outdoor view of the square as well. We have an indoor rendering with the kitchen and dining hub where students will be able to gather, create meals together, and share and that all like when they're inside their housing, which I think is just lovely. And then also a study lounge where students will be able to, of course, study, get everything done. So it's still underway. We're just patiently waiting for that approval from our state. One thing that you will be seeing, though, hopefully soon, is Off Telegraph will be erecting our development sign showing the future site of the affordable student housing for spring 2028. We are still expecting to break ground this year with construction going underway. So keep an eye out for that. It's going to be right in the location of where that housing will be, and that should be coming up probably by early next month since we're already going to be in May, which is hard to believe. I want to talk a bit about some of the upcoming centennial events. We're almost complete with our centennial year, but next week, April 30th, the Gateway Division will be having their centennial division. It's open to the public and also their anthology launch. That's from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. Really exciting about this. We have some amazing alumni that will be joining this event. The brothers Hernandez, who are local cartoon artists, really well known for a lot of the works that they've done. They just, as a matter of fact, won an LA Times award for their work and their series. They do cartooning. So they will be at this event next week. So the public is welcome to join next Thursday, April 30th from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. in our Wright Event Center. And so we'll be providing some awards to alumni, some recognition, music, food. It'll be really a wonderful time for folks to be able to join us. So hope to see some folks there. Lisi Athletics has been very busy. Next few days, actually, this week, our tennis team, both men and women, will be having various games. The only thing is that they are in Ojai in multiple locations. I wish I had them, but I know that they're doing a draw every single day. So if you're looking to join some of those games, if you view online on VC We Play Hard, which is our athletics website. It should be posted daily if anybody wants to go watch the really exciting golf tournaments that our Ventura College men and women's will be doing. We also have baseball with Alan Hancock on the 24th, Friday at 2 p.m. More tennis games. And then finally, our women's flag football tournament is going to be at the Sportsplex all day on the 30th next week as well. So it's going to be pretty busy. It's been really great to see the flag football gals out there. They've been just doing so phenomenal. I've been so proud of them, just seeing them beat left and right. So if you want to join them on next Thursday, 4:30, we have our women's flag football tournament. It'd be great if anybody wants to come join and cheer on our gals who've just been pretty much undefeatable. So I'd love that. Another thing is our visiting guest artists. We have Ruby Neri on April 23rd through the 24th. And so she is a visiting ceramics and she'll be coming to Ventura College. The public is also invited to join. This will be held in our Studio Arts building, room 101, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's really for folks to come in, look at the various pieces of art, but it's a really great opportunity to connect and see some of the art pieces that will be here from this well-known guest artists that'll be coming to Ventura College. Next week is also, it's just an exciting time of the year. It's like the crazy before graduation. So all excitement is fun around campus. But next week is also the start of our open registration, and that's for both summer 2026 classes and our fall 2026 classes. So I always love to share, it's never too late to apply, never too late to learn something new. So if you're looking to come to Ventura College, take some classes either in person, online, or even a combination of the two, because we also have hybrid courses. Please, please, please join us for our next open registration date, because it's not too late to apply to Ventura College. And so with that, I believe that is the end of my slide. So I'll open it up to any questions.
Do we have any questions?
I do. Do you happen to have any of the parameters for the student housing? Like how you probably have done this in the past, I missed it, but how many floors, how many rooms, how many students, how many
Yeah.
parking spaces, and so on and so forth? Thank you very much.
Of course. So the highest that the building will be is 4 stories. I can possibly, trying to think if I have an image here handy, I can possibly stop sharing and find, but the highest that is, to visualize it, is that it's not going to be higher than our press box at the stadium. So 4 feet that direction, because it is on a slope. So it's going to be built up to 4, and then one of the wings will be 3 stories high. We're looking to have about 300 beds in our student housing, and that is beds. That sometimes gets a little confused with rooms, because some of our rooms will house about like 3 beds for students. It'll be what you could think of like a traditional dormitory would look like, with 2, 3, up to 4 beds configured. But we're looking to have about 300 beds for students. And then in terms of parking spots, that is a number I don't have off the top of my head, but I'm more than happy to share that. I don't have that. I could definitely ask our Vice President Business Services for that number, but sorry, I can't be of help with that particular question. Did I answer all those? Kind of the height. So this about 4 stories high on one wing, 3 on the other, 300 beds. And then was there another question I may have missed? I know parking is one I don't have the information for.
Recognizing you might have more than one student per room, I was just curious how many rooms. If you knew.
Rooms. Currently there was we have about, I know it's 300 beds, but in terms of the number of rooms, there is various configurations. So some will be single, so students can elect and have like the single rooms, but some are also built to have up to 3 to 4 students. So they vary in different types of rooms that we actually have. I'll get that particular number as well. So hopefully that's helpful.
All right, thank you, Vanessa. I appreciate you meeting with us this month, and we look forward to hearing your next update. Maybe we'll have a little bit more on the housing's
Yes.
progress.
Thank you. We're hoping to get some approval soon. And then let me just hit.
Okay, so next up on our agenda this evening is our guest speaker for our primary guest speaker for the evening, and it is Steve Biddle. Steve comes to us from the Surfrider Foundation, and he's going to give us an update on their activities, especially seeing that today is Earth Day.
Great, thank you for having me, and it's a privilege to be here and represent Surfrider Foundation. So I'm going to give kind of a broad overview to start what Surfrider is and what we do and how our organization works. And then I'll get down to a focus of regional and then our main focus is we are the Ventura County of Surfrider. So Surfrider is multinational and throughout all of the United States, including Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. So pretty broad based and even up into the Great Lakes. So Surfrider Ventura County is a community supported group, and we support our beaches and waterways. So next slide. So our mission statement says basically this: Surfrider Foundation is dedicated to the protection and enjoyment of the world's oceans, waves, and beaches for all people through a powerful activist network. So I think that's really important, that we stand strong through our group for the protection and enjoyment. We like to have fun on our beaches and recreational areas and our natural environment. And it is for all people. We are a grassroots activist network. So that's really important. It's all of us that take care of this and support and make the things that we do happen. Next slide. So initiatives that we're working with right now that Surfrider stands behind is reduction of plastics. So the impacts of plastics in our marine environment is just really phenomenally negative right now. And the volume is only increasing exponentially. We stand for ocean protection, defending our oceans from the many challenges that exist both naturally and man-made, and supporting the vitality of the ecosystems. Coasts and climate. So a lot of people, I think of Surfrider as something that happens on the coast or the beach, and that is our primary focus area, but it's more comprehensive than that. So we take on comprehensive issues that threaten our beaches and natural shorelines. So beach access. We want people in California, where it is a law, to have equal and free access to our beaches. We work hard with our decision makers, that's state and national legislators, and as well as our county and city legislators, to ensure that we have fair and full access to our beaches so that we can enjoy them. And crucial to all those things is clean water. So we stand for protecting the health and sustainability of our planet's most precious resource. Without water, we're in a deep, deep pit. No plants, no oceans, no rivers, and we all can't live without water. Next slide, please. All right, this is kind of a broad overview of what Surfrider's accomplished. So coastal victories is totally over 1,000. They're broken down kind of into these areas. Plastic reduction, 386. So you can see it's a pretty big focus on plastic reduction. Ocean protection. So a lot of measures have been taken to protect our oceans. Clean water, excuse me. So the oceans, rivers, and creeks all go into the ocean. It's not a standalone environment. So if you don't have clean water going into it that people can recreate in, live in, and enjoy, the ocean waters are only going to get worse from there. And beach access, as I said, we want a lot of easy, free access to beaches. No blocking off of beaches. We don't consider the beaches private property, and in California, that is the beaches we have. Everyone has free access from the mean high tide line down into the water, and that varies, and you can't block off the access to those areas. Coast and climate. So you can see that that is a big portion of what we do. So, and I think this really the scope of what those victories are shows that Surfrider is a local oriented and focused group. So 644 of those over 1,000 victories, and those are legislative and accomplishment victories, were on a local level. Then we go into state, where it's 272, and that's just of those recently. Regional would be multi-county sometimes, where it's things like Ventura, LA, and Santa Barbara counties, or the North Coast. And then Surfrider is, as I said, a national organization and multinational, and we have accomplished many things through our activist networks and working with our federal legislators and organizations to pass laws and regulations protecting those environments. Next slide, please. So Surfrider Ventura County, we basically go from Santa Barbara County line to LA County line and do cleanups, environmental protection, and many things along all of those beaches. The Surfrider Foundation of Ventura County chapter is a local chapter for the Surfrider Foundation that was founded in 1991 in Ventura. So our chapter is volunteer run by a community of dedicated individuals who are passionate about our oceans. The Surfrider Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit. So, and it is a group of dedicated, passionate individuals. I'm on the executive council. Our programs, we do beach cleanups. We do the Blue Water Task Force, and all of these I'll talk more about in detail later. So the Blue Water Task Force is ocean water quality testing. Ocean-friendly gardens and restaurants, because plants and gardens and restaurants all have an impact on our waterways and oceans. One of my favorite ones to say is Hold On to Your Butt. That's a cigarette butt cleanup program that we sponsor and maintain in Ventura. Plastic-free Ventura is plastic reduction and elimination. And then lastly, ecosystem-based management. So that's broad and nature-based systems. Next slide, please. So our beach cleanups, an initiative to tackle ocean litter issues mostly caused by plastic pollution through education, action, community science, and campaigns to change legislation and policy. So we take a lot of action out on these beaches and environments. We also speak with a lot of groups at schools, to private groups, to businesses, and on our events. We currently have 3 primary locations. Respect the Rincon, which is in North County, C Street Ventura Promenade, which is probably the most popular and widely attended. My favorite, because I work on this one, is the Ormond Beach and Wetlands. So it's an area that's been often neglected and overlooked. The access to it has been difficult, and it is one of the last remaining natural lagoons and wetlands in Southern California. Next slide, please. In the past 5 years, we have collected over 260,000 individual items. We've picked up over 60,000 pounds of trash, engaged 8,000 volunteers in our beach cleanup efforts, and that's just in the last 5 years. Last year alone, we had 1,651 community volunteers engaged in these beach cleanups. We picked up over 13,410 pounds of trash. I know that there's a lot where we took on Ormond Beach because I helped someone drag a nice red couch that was waterlogged about 1/8 of a mile down the beach. So it's not just cigarette butts and plastic, but a lot of things. If it goes into a waterway, it ends up at the lagoon or the beach. And our most numerous item was 23,450 cigarette butts. Hopefully someday that number may go way down, but right now it's still a lot. And the problem with cigarette butts is they don't degrade. They break down slowly into little pieces, but they don't go away. They're not made of paper. They're not made of things that break down. Next slide. Hold On to Your Butt. So Hold On to Your Butt aims to raise awareness about the environmental impact of cigarette butt litter in our oceans, waves, and beaches, and to help eliminate cigarette butt litter in Ventura County and beyond. So you've probably all seen, if you've walked down Main Street in Ventura or some of the other busy areas, these receptacles. So those are paid for and installed through donations and Surfriders, and Surfriders monies, and then volunteers come through and empty those and put them in appropriate places. So we also do those collections and waste management in the Ventura County, in the Ventura C Street cleanups. So Hold On to Your Butts is always looking for core volunteers who are available to pick up and clear out these ash cans according to a specific route. So we have regular routes just like the trash company does. We'd like to pick these up because nothing's worse than, I guess, if you're trying to put your butt in a can and you can't get it in there. So the good part is our hours are flexible, and we have weekly and bi-weekly commitments. So if you can come once or twice a month, we're welcome to have you, and we can fit you into a slot. So if this program really just tickles your fancy and you want to get involved, it's really making a difference. And at the bottom of the screen there, and she's also on our Ventura County Surfrider website, is Julie Marcial. So great program, and we're happy to do that. Next slide. The Blue Water Task Force, which is just a fantastic thing that we've added in the last couple of years, number of years they've been working on. So the Blue Water Task Force is Surfrider's volunteer water quality monitoring program that provides critical water quality information to protect public health at the beach. Surfrider chapters use this program to raise awareness of local pollution problems and to bring together communities to implement some solutions. So it does say beaches there, but I also know that Blue Water Task Force is in the Great Lakes. We're starting to get into some of the feeder rivers and creeks, which is really important. But then, so the Blue Water Task Force labs, which Surfrider funds, measure fecal indicator bacteria, which is the most common one. And those levels in recreational waters, and then we compare them to what the water standards are set out by our state and county public health departments. Chapter-run Blue Water Task Force programs fill in the gaps and extend the coverage of agency-run beach monitoring programs by sampling ocean and bay beaches, estuaries, and potential freshwater sources of pollution, such as stormwater outlets, rivers, and creeks that discharge into the beach. So the great thing about our local Ventura one is they work with, Joy works with high school kids and local volunteers and does a great job filling in some of the gaps, especially wintertime when the agencies aren't out there collecting data. And we all know right now, agencies are being more and more challenged to have the resources to even respond to these things. Next slide, please. Ocean Friendly Gardens is Surfwater's program. Is a way for us to promote principles that save water and prevent urban runoff in Ventura's own backyards through education and certification. So it's a lot of native plants, low water demanding plants, plants that hold the soil. I like the Ocean Friendly Garden sign that's CPR, which is conservation, permeability, and retention. And as a person who worked in horticulture for most of my career, having healthy soils and getting the water down to where you need it in the plants is great, because if we can keep it in the soil, it might go down into our aquifers and it's not going to run off and go straight down the rivers into the ocean. And retention, we want to keep that water. Water in California is a valuable resource. It's not the average year that we have lots of extra water. It's the rare exception. So our Ocean Friendly Gardens meets once a month at Loma Vista Elementary School. They're looking for commitments to of 2 to 3 hours if you can come out and help maintain the garden and weed and water and learn more about, if you're interested in learning more about those kind of plants. We're also looking for an ocean-friendly garden program lead is someone who's really inspired, and that is something you want to get into. So if you are, you can scan the QR code. It'll take you straight to our Ventura chair, and we'll get you involved. Or if you just want to come out and volunteer, that'd be great. Next slide. Plastic-free Ventura County. So that slide right there is from Ventura C Street. That was one of the monthly cleanups. I can tell you from my Ormond lagoon that's a drop in the bucket. So we take, as the stats showed, we take a lot of things off there. It's not just about straws or the plastic cups. Plastics are used in so many things today, and they last and last and last. Next slide, please. Okay, so Plastic-Free Ventura County, that's a program. So that was launched on Earth Day in 2018 as a response to the amount of single-use plastic litter that volunteers are collecting on local beaches. Some of the common items collected are straws, expanded polystyrene foam, which we like to call styrofoam, is probably what most people wouldn't be familiar with. Plastic and bioplastic cups and utensils. So scientists estimate, and this is pretty shocking to me, that by 2050, there will be more plastic in the oceans than fish by volume, unless we take some actions now. I had someone ask me recently, well, don't they have things out there now that can just drive around in the ocean and pick up like that big gyre thing with all the plastic that floats? I said, well, it's kind of like if I took the little net that I use in my aquarium tank at home and went out to one of the Great Lakes and started picking up all the trash in it. It's just, what's out there is beyond most people's comprehension. Some of the things that we have directly in Ventura County accomplished through this program is we worked with the county fairground to remove plastic and other litter from their fireworks displays. People don't really think of, once it goes up and goes boom, there's a lot of things that fall down on the ground. They've worked on a ban for plastic straws with AB1, which is a statewide ban of single-use plastic straws. So you can still get a straw, you just need to request it. It's just not handing them out to everybody and then they go in the trash whether they're open or not. And then worked on a ban of single-use utensils. So those are your plastic forks, straws, and accessories, things like that, that they hand out with each meal. So you have to ask for those. And we worked on and passed an EPS ban in the city of Ventura, and that's your styrofoam, your clamshell containers, a styrofoam cup that was often used for beverages. And after that, Ventura took action. Then the cities of Thousand Oaks, Camarillo, Port Hueneme, and Oxnard all followed suit, which really made the impact much bigger. And then State Bill 54 banned EPS food service statewide. So this movement's continuing, and I can tell you from beach cleanups, the old styrofoam food service containers that go out into the ocean, people don't think of it when they're 10 miles in, and that's where it ends up. And those don't just dissolve into the beach sand, they just break up into smaller and smaller pieces. Next slide, please. Ecosystem-based management is the approach that Surfrider uses and acknowledges that the interconnectedness of all things is taking an ecosystem-based approach to solve several interconnected problems along our coastlines. These are not standalone issues, all of the things that we've talked about. So ecosystem-based management describes responsible care for natural resources and urban environments that takes into account the connections between physical, biological, and social processes. For this reason, the chapter advocates for science-based natural resource management along our coastline and upstream. Here's 3 examples of our EBM campaigns. So Surfers Point Managed Shoreline shoreline retreat. I'm going to talk to that in a little more detail later on. Matilaha Dam ecosystem restoration. It's not just the dam itself, because that dam impacted a great area. Everything from upshore of the dam or upstream of the dam down to the beach. Wainimi Beach Park dune restoration, which is something that got started this year. And we're restoring the natural dunes to native plants rather than ice plant, which was brought in. There's nothing particularly wrong with ice plant. It just wasn't meant to be here and is very limiting. It does not provide an environment for broad-based ecosystem with insects and birds and natural and maybe reptiles and things like that. So that's our focus right now on today is the Wainimi Beach and then future work with the Matilaha Dam. Next slide, please. Surfers Point managed shoreline retreat. I don't know how many people remember when the palm trees and the concrete were falling in along the parking lot there at Surfers Point. But instead of building a seawall or other coastal armoring, which used to be the common practice, which would have destroyed both the beach, which there's not much left in that picture, or the surf break, or the parking lot. It would have taken them all out. So the pedestrian path, the bike path were moved up and away from the tide line. So that was phase one of the construction. Those things were all moved back to give it space. Surfrider volunteers have contributed to the resilience and beautification of the point by maintaining the sand dunes and bioswales with native vegetation to protect the beach, removing invasive species such as sea rocket and arundo donac. So arundo is the one that looks kind of like bamboo. If you've ever run into it while you're going along a pathway or on your bicycle like I have, it kind of has a nice serrated edge on the leaf. The goal is for this is to meet the needs of recreation by bicyclists, beach goers, fair goers, and of course, surfers for many years while simultaneously enhancing our local environment. Next slide, please. This is a slide on the left. That's what Surfers Point parking lot and the point used to look like. You can see a really narrow strip of sand along the parking lot. And really, that's not much sand. It's a lot of rock, concrete, and cobble. And this is the now completed phase one and phase two of the parking lot. Parking lot's where the construction equipment is, but you can see there's a broad sand-based beach, a natural, gentle slope out to the water, and the surf break is still there. The project is meeting multiple objectives, including erosion, flood mitigation, access and recreation benefits, and the restoration of natural morphology and ecology. So that's like the natural process that beaches go through in their life cycle. The engineering design consists of a base layer of cobble, which is various sizes of large rock, topped with sand and vegetative dunes, intended to respond dynamically to elevated waves and river flows and variable sediment input from the up coast and the Ventura River. So in the wintertime, we may lose some of the sand because it goes out just offshore. And you'll see some of the cobble. The cobble's able to, it kind of binds itself in with a little bit of sand. That's a natural process. It'll hold most of its place. And then in the summertime, beaches typically have the sand come back in. But that's much more attractive. You could see the first phase where the green vegetation is out there. There's some beautiful walkways out there. But the nice thing is that is so many times more resilient to storms, which seem to be increasing in scope and size, flooding, and other natural challenges to it. Next slide, please. Another project that has been going on since 1998, so it's a slow-moving process, is the Matilaha Dam ecosystem restoration. So Matilaha Dam, which is up above Ojai, California, is obsolete. Instead of storing water, you can see it is storing sediment, and it looks kind of like a meadow, really. the little bit of water by the dam is probably maybe a foot or two deep in the deepest areas. So it's now just storing sediment that would normally go down the river system and replenish our beach sands. In addition, it's also blocking the endangered southern steelhead trout that have been unable to access what was once a historic prime breeding area. And the southern steelhead trout is a separate species, subspecies of steelhead trout, and they're extremely endangered. Ventura County Surfrider is a member of the Matilahaw Coalition. So the primary community advocate, and we are the primary advocate for the restoration of the upper Ventura River. Our main focus is public outreach campaigns to gain local, state, and national support for a multi-agency dam removal effort. Our goal is to bring it down safely and in a manner that is good for the river, the community, and the beaches. So, as I said, planning for the removal of the dam, which has already been approved in concept, has been going on since 1998. It's just coming down to some nuts and bolts, some funding, which most of it's been provided, and getting all of those agencies which have an input on and oversight of that dam project, from the Army Corps down to our local cities and communities involved. Next slide, please. As with dam removal projects, sediment management is the primary concern. Here's some of the common questions that come up. How much sediment is accumulated? How best to remove the sediment to restore the natural stream gradient? What are the downstream impacts when sediment is released from the former reservoir? So a significant floodplain and water supply infrastructure has been developed since Matilahaw Dam was constructed in 1947. Ventura County has grown a lot. Concerns about potential impacts to aging and deficient levees downstream, as well as the roadless diversion, which is the part that puts water into the Casitas Reservoir, have led to a multi-component project called the Matilahaw Dam Ecosystem Restoration Project. Although complicated by the multiple agencies' interests and components, this complex endeavor ultimately will enhance watershed resilience through upgraded infrastructure and restored natural processes. Next slide, please. And lastly, this is one of our biggest programs recently, and we've undertaken it, is no new offshore drilling. We're not asking to shut down the platforms that are still remaining out there, but our position is no new drilling, and fracking is new drilling as far as we're concerned. Next slide, please. Let's go back one. I have a few more things to say about that. So, you can see in our paddle out that was there, the Sable pipeline is the onshore pipeline that comes off of all the offshore platforms. Pipeline was disabled or not disabled, but it was not used for well over a decade, and recently has gone through a new ownership and started to be reused again. That's the same pipeline that broke up by Refugio State Beach and caused significant damage. That pipeline is very old and very corroded, and that's why we're fighting not to restart it, although there's been some limited restarts. So there's a lot of challenges to that right now, because federal oversight has basically gone around the whole process and taken over and said they are exempt from all environmental, state, and local laws. Okay, next slide. Get involved. Surfrider Ventura typically has monthly chapter meetings, oftentimes at some of our local breweries. I'm not putting in a word for them, but we like to have fun while we're talking about some of these serious issues. We have 3 monthly beach cleanups, the monthly ocean-friendly gardens workday, and other volunteer opportunities to protect the coast. For a full list of events, there's a calendar that's on our surfrider.org website. Next slide, please. What is a core volunteer? Core volunteers are someone like myself who regularly helps Surfrider Ventura County on a regular, semi-regular basis to plan, organize, or provide a lead role for programs, campaigns, or events. It could be tabling information. It could be picking up trash. It could be working in a garden. They're generally knowledgeable about what the Surfrider Ventura County does and can answer general questions. You don't have to be the expert out there to do it. You want to be involved with Surfrider Ventura County in a low responsibility role, dip your toes in the water, and be able to support an event. One time a month makes a big difference when we have people we can count on who know the programs and know the people that we deal with. Next slide, please. Why be a core volunteer? You can earn more volunteer hours, networking, part of a growing community, attend volunteer appreciation and bonding events, free food and drink, gain skills and knowledge for career and resume building. We have a lot of high school, junior high school, college, and work study programs that attend. It's a stepping stone to becoming a program lead or executive committee member. And there's my blog, ventura.surfrider.org/volunteer. Next slide, please. So that's my broad overview. We could spend hours going into some of the specifics. I'd love to take any questions if you have some more, or tell you where to go and get more information.
I can attest that Hold On to Your Butt is a good program. I emptied the cans in the college area. There's one in front of Denny's, one at the bus stop in front of Rincon, one behind Rincon for the employees. What other college area? Actually, then it starts to go into Midtown. Benchwarmer there's an ash can there that I empty. And then there are quite a few downtown. The people downtown have busier ash cans. I'm kind of lucky. I have Solaris Liquor, that's a busy one. What's cool about the Hold On to Your Butt is the cigarette butt filters are plastic. And we pack them all up and send them to a company in the Midwest that recycles the plastic into things like park benches. So it's a really good program, although it's a little bit of a dirty job. It's a good program. So I can attest to that.
Well, we appreciate that. And it is great to know that they're being reused in a beneficial project. But to keep them off the beaches and out of our water supplies and thing has made a great difference, and love to see that expanded countywide, maybe statewide to coastal areas.
I want to add one more thing.
Okay.
The managed retreat area at the point, that is recognized nationwide and worldwide as a phenomenal program that actually works. Phase 1 has gone through 2-3 big storm winters and worked remarkably well. So people come here. I think Brian Brennan had people from Brazil and France, I can't quite remember, touring the area down at the beach to see what we've done and how it works. So anyway, plug for Surfrider and for Ventura to go for it and do something really amazingly phenomenal.
Yeah, it works so much better. I grew up in here, a lot of people saw big boulders and concrete things, cold and and stop the waters. And I think the simplest way for me to explain why that does work, it actually accelerates the erosion and destruction of beaches. And this way, if you went down into the surf line and you stood in where the waves come in and out, what happens to your feet? You start working your way down into the beach. It pulls the sand out from under you. So channeling all that water down there is kind of counterintuitive, and nature oftentimes has the best solutions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Steve. Let's give him a round of applause. We really appreciate you providing information about what your organization is doing to basically serve all of us with your good works, and we appreciate you. All right, next up, we have something that's a little bit different this time. One of the things that we realized is that while we have a lot of neighbors in the college area community area, we have the college and we have residents, but we also have some businesses. So what we have done this month is we've invited 2 business owners to come down and just to give us a 5-minute talk or so about their business so that we can become their customers and become good neighbors to them. And first, I would like to invite up Bobby Meyer. He's from Little Sammie's Mini Doughnuts. Little Sammie's is in the Ashwood Shopping Center, the CVS Shopping Center. And welcome, Bobby. Oh, Bobby's got donuts for us.
All right, where's the camera? Do I got a duck or are we in a good spot? All right, perfect. All right, how's it going? My name's Bobby. I'm born in, I can speak up definitely. I'm born and raised in Ventura, and we've been doing this for just over a year now. So it's one of those things where I'm really trying to pound the pavement and get out there. The whole first year, we're 7 days a week. We do mini donuts a lot like the county fair. We use a different batter, so they come off a lot like a mini funnel cake. So the raspberry is organic, the lemon is organic. We also locally sourced from Heritage Honey. So they have phenomenal flavors. We do a pumpkin spice honey, a cinnamon honey. And right now, I feel like a lot of people that do know about us, they use us when they can. And a lot of it is the big buddy boxes and the buddy boxes. That's our biggest thing that we do. But we're also known for hot donuts on the spot. So we make them as you go. You can also order them pre-hand, and then we make them like that for you as well. And we named it after my son. He's Samuel, so it's Little Sammie's. It's strictly me and my wife. I wish I could hire somebody, but we're not there yet. But you know what? We have a great time with it. We've created a whole community feel. So we're hoping to get a lot of families in. We can't have people technically eat inside of our building for county and city reasons, all that fun stuff. But what I can say is for a donut store, our place is very clean. We just got a 99 out of 100 on our county stuff, you know, where they come in, pick and prod. But our place is so small that it's so easy to take care of. And I come from a background of running Denny's. So if you could run Denny's on a Saturday or a Sunday, it can be kind of intense. And you're like, sorry, sir, the world's not going to end. I got some extra eggs for you in the back. You know, and then you create a joke and do a spin move, a cartwheel, and you know, you get somebody over there and you go, get those eggs over there, Susan. You know, it's just stuff like that that has gotten me to the point where I love talking to people, and I want people to know that we're more than just mini donuts. We're actually little whittle waffles now, so we're doing those as well. But we're community. Like I said, I'm born and raised here. My wife is born and raised here. I've never left the city, but 5 months I went to Port Hueneme and I felt like I was on the moon. So this is my home, and I just got to be part of the chamber now that my wife's capable of running the machine. So like I said, we're pounding the pavement, and I need the support of my community, and I'm going to be out there a lot, so people will be seeing me. So once again, my name's Bobby, and we're Little Sammie's.
Thank you, Bobby.
I want to attest to the fact that those little donuts are delicious, hot off the press. I went by the other day and got some hot off the press. They are delicious.
For those of you who are in the audience on Zoom, you missed out because Bobby brought us samples that we've all been enjoying. Thank you again, Bobby. Yeah. All right. Next up, we have another business owner from NBK Nail Salon over in the shopping center where the Starbucks is, and on the corner of Day and Telegraph Road. And we have Hung Lee.
Hey, Dena. Well, first of all, thank you, Dena, for the opportunity to speak and share what we have done over there. We're a nail salon. Let's share a little bit about me. Me and my wife have been in the community about 15 years now, coming from Toledo, and it's such a great place, an easier place to raise a family compared to the arm and the leg and two legs to raise family out there. So we were very blessed to be here. When we first came out here, we were at a nail salon out in Thompson, and the folks were really enjoying what we're doing. We're doing something a little different. I don't know if you guys ever been to a nail salon, but I think it's their model to push you in and out as fast as they can. Just kind of a turnstile kind of a business. So I actually wanted to slow it down a little bit for our customer. It's a treat, like everything else. People were anticipate salon visits for weeks, and then when you show up, it should be a treat, right? And it should be a moment for you to relax and you really enjoy this time with your friends and family. And I really took that personally, and I really so we emphasize life happens fast is our slogan. Life happens fast. Let's take a minute. And we really do take a minute and really build a relationship with our clients. And that where we actually doing so well, we brought about a second location here at Campus Corner, right across the street, right next to Starbucks and what's it? Jersey Mike's. I didn't know Jersey Mike was a landmark, but Jersey Mike is a landmark. I see folks going in. Oh my goodness, yes. I became a fan fast too with Jersey Mike. But NBK Nail Spa, we're just a simple mom and pop nail salon. Nothing fancy, nothing crazy. We probably don't have all the fancy colors, but we do pride ourselves on taking good care of our clients. And if you ever have an opportunity or special occasion to join us, please join us. We're at NBK Nail Spa, right across from what's it, Day and Telegraph. Awesome. Thank you, again.
There are, of course, other businesses in the area who are our neighbors too, but I just happen to know these two. I met Bobby at the chamber, and I have been enjoyed the services of Hung's family nail salon. So I was able to invite them. Thank you two for coming. We really appreciate it, and we're really glad to have our other community members join us for a meeting. All right. Well, next up is CACC business and announcements. And what we've got next are our CACC officer elections. And to help us with that this evening, we have Russell Richardson.
Thank you, Dena. Yes, every April we elect new officers. Just to remind everyone, our officers are chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer. And this is always a good time to stop a minute before we actually have the election and recognize the people who've been serving for the past year, in many cases, in many years, in those capacities. So I'd like to point out that in this past year, our chair was Barbara Brown. Our vice chair was Dena Rogers. Our secretary was Kathy Bremer. And treasurer was Eric Rosenberg. And I don't know if you guys have had much of a chance, to really watch what's going on in the other community councils and communities, but I've had a little bit more of a chance this year. And there's some other very good ones, but I can tell you this group of officers, I would stack them up against any in town because they do a fantastic job of providing us with a strong, vibrant council. And I think all of you being here is testament to the interest that you have in that. So I think we should give them a hand for serving this year. We are having an election tonight. In order to be eligible to vote, you need to have attended 2 of the previous 5 meetings. Kathy Bremer, one of the things that she does as treasurer is to track that attendance, and she has provided me with a list of people who are eligible. I want to go through that list so you know if you are eligible to vote tonight, and also to check and see if there's anyone who thinks you should be on the list but you aren't, and certainly we want to address that. We have on our list eligible voters are Jim Ackerman, Kathy Bremer, Rob Corley, Jeffrey Dan, Shannon Fredericks, Pat Harder, Ann Houston, Joanne Kaplan, Carol Lindberg, Vondi Lozano, Sam Fang, Nadine Pichet, Russell Richardson, Dana Rogers, Eric Rosenberg, Herb Schwind, and Marisa Sullivan. Now, is there anyone in attendance who thinks you should be on the list, but you were not announced? Okay, I think we're good then. We also need to know that we have a quorum. I have done that visually. To have a quorum, we have to have 7 voting members here, and we do. We're going to vote by a show of hands, so we would appreciate it that if you are on Zoom, if you showed yourself on Zoom so we can see you raise your hand, that would be helpful. You could use, yeah, as long as we can see it, yeah. The executive committee always nominates a slate of officers to speed up the process a little bit. So this year we are nominating Eric Rosenberg as chair, Dena Rogers as vice chair, Kathy Bremer as secretary, and at this point the treasurer position is open. Herb Schwind has very generously offered to work with us in terms of the treasurer's duties, but he is not yet ready to actually run for the office formally. So that position is going to stay open on our slate. We always entertain other nominations from the floor. If there's anyone who would like to nominate yourself, that is allowed. Or if you'd like to nominate someone else, that is allowed. No second is required, and we will add you to the list. Is there anyone who would like to make a nomination? Yeah. All right. Apparently there are no other nominations. And so we are going to see if we can have a vote by acclamation for that slate. All those who are qualified voters, if you vote by acclamation to accept that slate of officers in totality, please raise your hand. All those who are opposed to accepting that slate. Great. Then you have accepted that slate of officers for the current year. Thank you for participating, and thanks to that new group of officers for offering to serve. Yeah.
Hey, thank you, Russell. Thank you, everyone. I was able to join for a moment from my conference in Phoenix, so I have to run back out to meet, but I wanted to make sure I got to this part. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Eric. Okay, enough of voting. I'd like to also talk for just a second about our food drive that we staged tonight. As you probably know, these kinds of food drives are more important than ever because a lot of the funding that goes to these kinds of organizations, nonprofits in general, has been cut back, and many of them are struggling. In case you don't know, we do food drives here in the Community Council specifically for the Ventura College Food Pantry. And we reached out to you and asked you to bring donations. And I don't know for sure, but this could be one of our biggest collections of food. You can see a lot of it back here. There's some below the table as well. So I wanted to thank everyone, particularly those of you who made the effort to come in before the meeting between 4 and 7. Some people dropped off food even though they couldn't be at the meeting. And then a lot of people showed up with food. So we really appreciate that. And I will be delivering this over to the food pantry tomorrow. So thanks very much.
Thank you, Russell, for taking care of the CACC business for us. And we are moving right along. Oh, you took my agenda. I was going to have to start making things up. All right, Kathy, did you have something? Absolutely. Are you going to provide that for us? We do have a treasurer's report, and Kathy's going to present it. Eric put it together for us, and what I think Herb was helped with that as well. And take it away.
Would you like to? No, Herb's shy. Okay. Total donations received. This is prior year. $1,700. Total expenses just over $2,100. Net shortfall was about $400. This is not a problem, according to Eric, due to strong prior year fundraising results. But we must really make sure that we do fundraising to cover our expenses. We're a nonprofit, so we don't need to make any money, but we must cover expenses. So donations are appreciated, welcome, and we could use some. Based on current financials, yes, we need to fundraise. We're grateful for continued support from people who have regularly donated to our cause. We want to outreach to the community to get more people involved in the community council so that we have opportunities for outreach and further donations. Thank you.
I'd like to add to what Kathy had to say. Primarily, our expenses extend to insurance and the things that keep us safe as we operate the community council. We're always welcoming ideas that people might have if you'd like to contribute ideas for fundraisers and or activities that the council might do. For example, we have our regular food drive and we also have a community gleaning, but we'd also welcome any other ideas that might be appropriate for our group to serve our community here at the College Area Community Council. Okay. The other thing I did want to note, and seeing Nadine here reminded me, tomorrow is CACC's 25th anniversary, and they will be having a celebration here in this room at CACC's TV, April 23rd, Thursday, from 5 to 8 p.m. And if you wanted to RSVP so that they would know that you're coming, you can do so at info@cacsmedia.org. And I wanted to make sure I made that plug because they're always so gracious in helping us and allowing us to use our room and helping us with our technology for our Zoom setup. And we're really excited to have them in our community and are happy to celebrate with them. So thank you. All right. Next, we have got Shannon Fredericks from the Ventura Unified School District with her update. Russell, yes?
Were you going to, at this point, announce about the meeting time change? Or was that later?
No, that's on at the announcement. It's not on my agenda, but I'll do so by the end of the meeting. Sorry. Yeah, it wasn't on here. Shannon, you ready? All right, Area 3 Trustee, Shannon Fredericks. Oh, and I want to also mention there are more of these delicious donuts. I think they need to move away from my lap. There was a little momentum that was happening. Yeah. There you go. Thank you. Thanks, Dena. All right. So it's always interesting. It's been working out lately that we have a meeting on Tuesday night and I come to the meeting here the next night. So I've always got news hot off the presses for everyone. I will begin with what will likely be our hottest topic for about the next 6 to maybe 24 months, and that is the potential for school closures. Our school closures advisory committee met last month for their first meeting, chose officers, went over the Brown Act, set their expectations for the meetings. And tomorrow night at 5:30 will be the second school closures advisory committee meeting. It will be at the district offices at 255 West Stanley, over off the 33. And tomorrow night's meeting will cover demographic data. They'll be talking about trends, including birth rates and enrollment. What are some of our projections going forward for the number of students in the district? They will be talking about new housing that will be coming in the next few years and how many students we expect to get from the new housing. We'll also be going over each of the schools, what their capacity is, what their current enrollment is, where they are percentage-wise, and their ability to absorb more students. And so that'll be meeting number 2. As of now, you can go to the district website in order to see the minutes from the meetings. However, at last night's meeting, I made a request that we look into the possibility of recording the meetings. We've had a lot of feedback from the community that just getting notes is not enough. And there was board consensus for us to look into, if not live streaming because of the cost, at least having the meetings recorded on video so that we can post them on their website so people can go straight to the source, hear the committee, hear the deliberations, hear the data. All of the data is on the website as well. But that is again, likely. I was a little bit delayed getting here tonight because as I was running to my car, my next door neighbor saw me and said, "Hey, can we talk for a minute about school closures?" So I'm getting that in the grocery stores. I'm really, really grateful though that the community is engaged in this topic. Whether you have children in the district or not, whether your children or grandchildren are in a school that closes or not, if we decide to close schools, it's going to affect the entire community. It really is. So I'm just really glad to see the community engagement. Also at last night's meeting, we did finalize the resolution for the layoffs that we had recommended in February. We ended up with a total of 28 FTE, which is full-time employees. It's the equivalent. So for example, sometimes you might have some 2 part-time employees that equal 1 FTE, but we had a total of 28 FTE for our certificated staff and then 26 FTE for our classified staff. So again, we continue to be in deficit spending and we are looking to tighten as programs leave, as we're able to break apart jobs and spread them out and share the weight of that. We're getting as lean as we possibly can. Also, one of the highlights of last night's meeting was wonderful student presentations. We have 6 schools in the district that have just completed a 3-year ABAR, anti-biased, anti-racism program. It was a $200,000 grant that went specifically to those topics. And we had student presenters talking about how it impacted their education to be part of this, to bring diverse books, diverse programs. And really the crux of it was the conversations that it led to. So many of our students commented on just how valuable it is to have those honest, safe conversations and for people to just feel comfortable expressing when they felt that either they were being, biased or were having a bias held against them. So it was really encouraging to see the amount of work they've done. And I will be texting over the application to Kathy after the meeting, but we have some openings on our Citizens Bond Measure E committee. The bond passed a couple years ago. We're still working through. We just allocated our second round of bonds, so we still have several years left in our bond projects, and we are looking for committee members. They basically are your neighbors who sit on the committee and make sure that the rules of the bond are adhered to and direct questions and concerns from the community. We meet about once every 6 to 8 weeks, so it's not. I'm a liaison for that committee, so you'll be able to sit in with me, and it usually lasts about an hour, and then we do every summer a tour of some of the bond projects, so you get to see firsthand what's going on, and that's always really exciting as well. So the application window opens April 26th, and applications are due by 4 p.m. on May 15th. And again, that will be in Kathy's notes. And then a few highlights of some fun things coming up. I always try to end on some positives and showcase some of the amazing things that are going on in the district. I'm very happy to announce that we will have the annual VUSD Student Art Show. The student artwork will be available on view May 1st through 3rd at the Vita Art Center at 28 West Main Street. The work will blow you away. It is absolutely phenomenal. I was talking with Trustee Rodriguez yesterday. She already bought a piece, and it's from one of the artists, and it's not even open yet. Really, really talented group of kids. And then there are 3 plays this weekend. If anybody feels like they might be bored this weekend, we have 3 of our high schools doing their fall musicals. So Foothill Technology right across the street is doing Mamma Mia. And yes, I know, right? I say it and you can't help but sing. That will be on the 23rd and the 24th at 7 p.m. And then Ventura High is doing Bonnie and Clyde. And they have 4 performances left, the 23rd, 24th, 25th at 7 p.m. And then they'll have a matinee on Sunday, the 26th at 2. And then also final weekend for Buena High School. They are doing Frozen, Disney's Frozen. And the last 3 shows this weekend are Thursday night, the 23rd, Friday, the 24th, both at 7 p.m. And Saturday, they have a matinee for their final show at 3. So I have 2 children who are performers in Frozen. I have young Anna, and my oldest is Sven the reindeer, which, spoiler alert, is a full-size reindeer puppet, and he wears it. It's really phenomenal. But great show. Even if you're not a fan of Disney musicals, just seeing all of the cute little kids dressed up in their Frozen costumes is enough to melt your heart. So a lot of great things going on in Ventura Unified. Yes, Kathy. Yes, Mamma Mia is at 7 both nights, the 23rd and 24th. Of course. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Next up, we'll have an update from our one of our city council representatives, Mr. Doug Halter, and Deputy Mayor.
Happy to be here. It's good to see everybody. And it's been kind of a crazy day with a lot of meetings back to back since about 6 this morning. So I've been juggling a lot, but I was looking forward to seeing all of you and giving you a brief update and leave time for questions and just tell you a bit what's going on. There's a lot going on, more so than ever. I think I mentioned to a few people that this is probably the first year of my life that I feel it's extremely difficult to keep up because so many things are happening so quick. And I'll start off though with the immediate and what's going to be happening over the next few weeks is it's budgeting season. So we're going to hear the budget again on Tuesday. And the thing that's key about this budget more than anything is noticing the fact that even with Measure O, when you look at how revenue grows in the city, and you look at historically how it grows, it's been a long time since we've seen any type of bump. It's really been status quo. It's all about how much increase in property taxes the city gets, how much increase in sales tax, and it's all about 2%, 2%, 2.2, 1.8 in that range. So it's really about balancing the budget with the revenue we have and with the needs that we have. There's a very limited amount of subjectivity that we have as a council on money that's not committed. And that's in the general fund. It's about $35 million out of a budget of 400 million. It's not a whole lot. There's already, staffing and police and fire, which comes out of the general fund as well. But the reality is that we have our nature as a city has always been to count on just the status quo and what increased revenue we get. That is not sustainable. That is not sustainable. And so looking at how do we create better and more economic vitality in our community and prosperity for our community so that we have the revenues to do the things that we know that we've fallen back on, such as we all know streets are the number one calls that we get from people is when are you going to pave and fix that pothole and on all the streets really. We're seeing some results on like Telegraph and there's going to be a lot of results happening. We have $3.5 million. That is an example, okay, of what's acceptable from my standpoint. Okay. But there's $3.5 million we spent on overlays. This is more than a Band-Aid, but it's not quite a redo like Telegraph was. But we've been pouring money in the last 2 years into fixing the streets because for about 25 or 30 years, we have done a lot of Band-Aids. And with a few wet years, it's really showing up that we can't keep up with the maintenance of our infrastructure. That's going to come out loud and clear. So I would love to have that opportunity sometime where we could talk about the what ifs. What if we take the guardrails and our values, the guardrails around what we want to see for our city and the values that we all share as Venturans, and how can we significantly increase the prosperity that can solve the challenges of today and not just count on the status quo. The status quo does not keep up with the increased cost of doing the things that we need as a city. So I'm very cognizant of that, and I'll be watching that and trying to make hard decisions on Tuesday night. Be the last time we have a chance to modify the budget before we finally approve it in May. The other thing, just food for thought, is every year we have to approve the new fees, the fee schedule, 500 and some odd fees that the city gets reimbursed for. We're allowed to charge for services that the city provides as long as it's only enough to pay for what it costs to provide that service. Okay. It's over 500 fees, 504, something like that. And the reality is, what you're encouraging when you're looking at what state law allows is for you to be reimbursed for the services. What you're doing is unintentionally you're encouraging a bureaucracy to grow and for more fees to be formed and to break things down into smaller pieces. So you could say, I've seen permits that used to be one permit are now 5 permits to do the exact same thing. I've seen other things like that. I'm trying to think. Oh, business licenses. I know as a business owner that we went from 1 business license to run a simple landscape business to 5. We got it down to 4, and yet it's what's required by the city and how we slice and dice things. But I'm more concerned about not so much the fee of the costs, or I'm more concerned about what are we encouraging and discouraging from happening. And I'd rather have redirect and work with our state elected officials to try to find out how we could convince the state to reward cities that are creating timely, predictable, efficient systems to create the needs that we all have as a community. And base it more on not just on reimbursement for services that we say we need to have, but base it upon the success of the services and the processes that we have. I think that would be unbelievable boost to the entire state of California. So I just want to share that with you, just a little thought process that I've seen over the 6 years of being on council and my involvement in the community. Next, I want to mention about Main Street Moves. Can you hear me okay? Okay. Main Street Moves took a little bit of a turn last week. And this is, I just got to say that 5 years of looking at data, looking at a convoluted amount of data, okay, trying to figure out what is real and what's not, and what has been manipulated and what has not, what has been truly representative of the needs of the businesses downtown and the property owners, and also in the best interest of this community. We were waylaid with 3 lawsuits that prevented the city, even after COVID, from taking significant action without solving those first. We made it through all that and prevailed, and we made a decision 4 months ago to move forward with it staying closed. Right or wrong, our main interest is helping the businesses with a lot of convoluted data on who's being helped and who's not, and who's failing and who's not, and would it matter if the street was open or the street closed. We all know if you walk down there on Monday through Thursday, it looks pretty empty, okay? So that's undeniable. As a business owner of downtown for many years myself, with Villa Tosca and Bella Saponi and Pillars, I've had a handful of stores. I know how difficult it is and how hard it is to be profitable in just in an old downtown that a lot of people, it took us years to change the reputation that downtown had. And now we know we're really on the way of something really, really exciting and great for our entire city. But we had to take a choice, a path, and we chose to keep it closed. We found $2.5 million in a budget that's really, really tight so that we could put ballards in and some downtown street elements to try to start making it all that it can be. And that's just the first few steps. And then under future agendized items, it came up on whether or not we should revisit whether it stays closed. Because no doubt, with the way the world is today, there's so much anxiety, there's so much unexpected things going on, and you kind of wake up in the morning not sure what's going to happen next. So surely there's a lot of anxiety, and there's businesses that are being impacted. So that future agendized item issue at the end of our meeting was enough with 60 plus business owners signing a petition that encouraged us to listen to them and to rehear Main Street in November. Why November? The reason we voted down rehearing it at all. And then it came back under future agendized items because we know we're on the eve of finally activating downtown. We've waited a long time. I feel like even the last 4 months during the winter time, not having results being readily visible in downtown, my gut feel started panicking that we have to make sure that it's activated, that we all work together to do all we can to make that downtown succeed. And it's about ready to do that. So come November, we'll have a lot of data. We'll have a lot of, is it working? Can we make this work with the limited dollars that we have? And maybe we could find other creative ways to do that, take it to the next step. So we really have that community center that I think a lot of us have always hoped that we would have. But in the meantime, the fear is what did happen with the vote to rehear it in November is it creates a certain amount of uncertainty yet again at a time period that we're asking people to invest in the new parklets so that we have some consistency and something that's more beautiful than what we have. And it's going to be an interesting path forward to convince businesses and see who exactly is interested in moving forward with their parklets, because that is crucial that happens for the success of downtown. So that happened unattendedly on Tuesday night. So we have some damage control and some working. And while we still listen to all the businesses and try to figure out what's in everybody's best interest. But at some point, as I mentioned about the city of Ventura not really, you want an educated risk that has many ways of succeeding. That's what I look at. And doing something that could exponentially increase the prosperity and the success and the livelihood and quality of life of our community. Main Street is one of those things that could really do that if we truly activate it. Now, speaking of activation, in 2 weeks, Jackalope is going to happen downtown, and that's going to bring tens of thousands of people downtown. So it's visibility. Will they shop in the stores, or will they tell their friends and relatives what a great city Ventura is and come back? You know, either one, as long as they sometime come back and help enjoy the things that we enjoy every day and leave their tax dollars here and give us the economies of scale to offer the services that we all want, okay, then that would be a win. There's going to be discussion, I think, on Tuesday. Calendar or the schedule just came out a few hours ago, but short-term rentals will come up again. It's going to be more about sunsetting of short-term rentals where there's a higher density than what we're allowing for. A year ago, we voted on allowing a maximum amount of short-term rentals in given areas of the city. And the Pierpont's heavily impacted. So some of those would be sunsetting. I think the sunset period, I got to read what just came out, is probably about 5 years is what I think before they sunset some of those because they're over the amount that we're allowing per lane on the Pierpont. Historic survey, I know I've already talked too much, I think, but the historic survey, there's been a lot of concern about that survey that went out. And this is a thing that it's all about staying focused on the bare essence of what we're doing. And sometimes we don't always hear it that clearly, but that was a major win to do a historic survey, okay? Because this is a scoop, is by state law, anything 50 years or older has to prove that it's not historic or go through a historic review. So if you're going to do something that is going to change a building, an improvement that is 50 years or older, now I don't think there's anything from 1976 that is historic, but you would have to, if it's going to be visible to the public, you would have to most likely go through a historic review, which is $2,500 to $5,000 and probably 2 to 6 months to complete. Okay, so it's adding more costs and more time to simply even changing your windows out on your house if you want to add double pane where you had single pane, right? So we now know through the historic survey that 99% of the properties in the city are not historic. So none of those 99% have to go through that review. Okay, that was a major win. It wasn't really couched that way. So the 432 properties that did not make that list out of the tens of thousands in Ventura are panicked now that they may be historic and they're going to be limited on what they can do with their property, which is true. They basically stay in the process that we have today, unless they could prove to us that they should also join the 99%. A handful, several dozen, I don't know the exact number, it might be in the report this released, have petitioned and did an appeal to get their properties taken out. And I know several of them legitimately should be taken out of even the possibly historic, because so many improvements or changes have happened over the years to that property that there's no way it could be historic. So all that said, there's a lot of anxiety. It's about government overstepping and creating processes and costs and limiting what people can do with their property in a way that most people feel not inclined to want that participation. So that's going to come up on Tuesday night as well. There's some stuff about the committee on committees. This gets almost laughable sometimes, okay? Because there are so many committees. I know but there's things that are going on there that I honestly don't know where they came from, you know, but there's things that have been floating around in the community. We're going to hear about, not on Tuesday, but in May, about whether or not these committees should be combined or eliminated. Or we had that conversation, I think, 7-8 years ago. I think it's just kind of re-looking at it again. I don't know much more than that about it. Was it longer than that? Okay. Yeah, because it's looking at design review, historic preservation. Anyways, there's a lot like that. There's several other things. I mentioned that I wanted to be able to have people ask questions. I always find something to talk about when I think I have nothing to talk about. So, but I like to open it up just to see if there are any questions.
How on earth are you going to get people to improve their places on Main Street if you have another decision hanging over their heads coming up in November? I just don't understand how that's going to work.
I am absolutely open to suggestions on that. That just so you know, but we have chosen to listen to any new information. The key is to make sure that the results that we accomplish in the next few months, it starts proving to people that it's not going to go on like it did for 5 years. More of the status quo is what's burning people out. Is they have to see that we're putting in the ballards, what that I believe is happening on June 1st in that time period. But there's going to be getting results, activating it, making sure we're focused on getting people downtown and helping the businesses, and maybe working together as a city employees, city council, and our community to make sure that downtown succeeds. You know, yeah. One other question? No. Oh.
Then they couldn't hear me on Zoom.
Okay, yeah.
I just was curious, who asked for that item to be put back on the agenda?
You know, I don't know exactly, but I kind of do. I know there's an element.
It wasn't one of the board. It wasn't one of the council members.
It was brought up by Alex Magoni.
Okay.
And you know, I got to tell you, I really respect our council. I really, every single one of them is a great addition to our city, and they're all doing it for the right reason. I was disappointed because I knew that I knew where it was going. We tried to impact initially where it landed. And then, if you watch it, you'll see why we ended up where we did. But I believe that there's people who simply never wanted to see downtown closed, and they weren't giving up the ghost. They weren't giving it up and letting us try to make it work. I don't feel we really had a chance to make it work, you know? And so I'm not somebody that gives up a direction until we prove that it can't work. You know, so
well, I have my board meetings the same night as yours, so I don't often get to see yours, but that sounds like one that might be worth going on to look.
Yeah, but Alex, his intents were good, I think.
Yeah, he's a good guy. So yeah,
and a great council member. Any other questions? And then there's things I want to talk about, but I know I'm taking too much of your time already. Okay, one last one. Okay.
You keep referencing the activation. What are we activating if 60 businesses are in limbo? And I'm new to this. Is this your area? So this is your, like, there's 6 or 7 boroughs and this is yours? which is this area. Okay.
I overlap 5 community councils. Okay, this is one of the 5. Our district goes down to Main Street, middle Main Street. So I have half of downtown.
Okay.
Or half, yeah. And then goes down to Loma Vista once you pass Seaward and goes out to Wells Road. And it's all the whole hillside, all the way across the
This
city.
isn't necessarily your section here. You're just kind of helping out and talking.
So we're on this side of Loma Vista. This is not. I think this is Ryan's.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right. So the activation plan, what are we talking about? If there's 60 businesses in limbo, and why are we waiting till November? I mean, I'm a business owner and not knowing something for 4 months, and it seems to be the same thing kicked down the
It's a great
road
question.
continuously and continuously. And it feels like a lot of the people that were on the side of Main Street moves has now kind of flipped. And the economy kind of stinks right now, so that's probably why. So opening it might not do anything, but the reality is that's how the people feel. And I think there's enough of them at this point where it's a no-brainer.
Well,
I mean, you guys can think about it till November, but
if you'd mind, share why in a brief comment is that discussion happened at the podium and public comment, and then when it was brought up on what future items we want to see on our agenda, it was not an agendized item. So legally, it was not something we could take any action on, but on Tuesday night, okay? Other than to say, we could diary it. There's enough people that say they want us to revisit and talk about the pros and cons. Keep in mind, when it was an agendized item, when people were noticed that it was an agendized item, we had 83 people very passionately coming down and speaking. So no, it's absolutely not clear because 60 people signed a petition that the other 83 people that spoke passionately at an agendized item somehow now discounted. Okay. So that would not be fair for us to even consider that.
So you're saying before there was 83 people that spoke positively about it closing.
Oops, keeping it closed.
And how many were there that were like positive or
a negative?
Negative saying they wanted closed?
I don't remember exactly, but if you check it, I remember about 5 to 7.
That's it?
About 5 to 7. When it was an agendized item, it was about 5 to 7 that spoke negatively and 83 that spoke positively.
From what I recall, I don't even know if it was 5 or 7.
I know. I'm trying to be fair.
It was less than that. It was a big to-do, and it was very publicly noticed.
Yeah.
And we could probably go all night talking about
no. Sorry.
But I just want to make sure I understand that you've got questions about it. Perhaps after the meeting, if you had a few more questions. And there's a lot of information that can be garnered through the city council meetings. But it is fascinating information for sure.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg of things going on. So stay with us, stay tuned, and any ideas, any help, I'm surely appreciated by me and by, I think, the entire council in the city.
Thank you, Doug. Oh, go ahead.
There was a meeting of the Committee on Committees recently. Do you know the results of that meeting?
I didn't catch what meeting.
Oh,
yes. Okay, the Committee on Committees. It really does become laughable, right? But it was a meeting to bring ideas forward, a direction forward. And I just know through the grapevine. I don't have anything in writing that's come to me as a council member about what it is, other than it's considering what committee should stay in place, what might be considered to put together. And I'm all about encouraging people to do what is in the best interest of our community inside the guardrails that we put up on what our values are as a community. All right. So I'm not about eliminating review at all, but I am also very willing to make things more timely and predictable while we do the reviews that are necessary, right? So with that said, I'm open to conversation, but it seems a little bit like, almost like it came out of nowhere to me, to be honest. So I'm waiting to see what the real details of that meeting are. So anyways, I know I talked too long.
Well, I just have to chuckle about the committee on the committees. That's bureaucracy at its best, it sounds like to me. But thank you so much, Doug, for giving us an update. We appreciate your time. And maybe you can go home and get some rest. Okay. The last thing on our agenda for this evening is we need to provide you some information about changes that are coming up for the College Area Community Council. And I don't have my written notes in front of us, but we are changing the time. And our new start time is going to be 6 p.m. The reason I was looking so crazy is because I thought we talked about 6:30, but so starting in May, our next general meeting will be on Zoom only, but we will be beginning at 6 p.m. And we'll put some information on social media and on Nextdoor and so forth to make sure people know. And then the second thing, we are going to skinny down our meetings a little bit, and they're going to be 90 minutes instead of 2 hours. Part of it is the hope that the earlier time will attract people who aren't putting kids to bed or aren't exhausted from work and don't want another meeting that starts at 7 p.m. And then shortening the meeting is for the same reason. It's like, let's get in, let's get out, let's share our information and then move on. So we're looking forward to that. That's next Wednesday, May 26th on Zoom. And then what other items of discussion do we need to bring up? 27th. I saw the 2026. Yeah, it got me. Yeah. May 27th, Wednesday. And if we don't have any other discussion items, we're adjourned. Thank you for joining us.